Welcome to a live broadcast of the Heavy Duty Parts Report. I'm your host, Jamie Irvin. For some of you who followed the show for a long time, you will recognize that we used to do lives. We did over 75 episodes, and today we are bringing HDPR live back. So the Heavy Duty Parts Report is back live, and this is episode 76. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how the Teamsters union may have played a major part in the bankruptcy of Yellow, a large fleet out of Nashville, Tennessee. But first, I want to introduce my guest. My guest today is going to be our podcast director, Diana Cudmore. Welcome to the Heavy Duty Parts Report and the live broadcast. How you doing, Diana?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing really good, doing really good. So it's exciting to be live again, be back on the air. This is a great opportunity for the audience that follows the podcast to be able to interact with us directly. You can do that by commenting. So if you're following live right now on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, by all means, if you want to make a comment, you want to participate in the conversation, please do so. And our producer backstage, Taryn Hohenson, will do his best to get you into today's live broadcast. Before we talk about our main subject, which is the bankruptcy of Yellow, the news is filled with fights between unions and companies. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the strike that we're seeing with Ford and GM and Stellantis. So, do you want to just give us a quick overview, Diana, on what's going on there, and then we'll talk about how that relates to heavy duty?
Absolutely. So currently 25,000 United Auto Workers members are on strike across these three automakers at multiple plants. This strike has been going on for a couple of weeks now, and it's really affecting the production of vehicles, which, Jamie, as you know, is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Well, right, and it's not just the production of the vehicles; it's also the production of the parts that go along with that, especially the aftermarket. So we use an enterprise level solution with Bing to use their AI Copilot to be able to find the most up to date information quickly. I did a quick search with our AI friend this morning, and one of the things it brought out was SEMA has found that consumers are spending $52 billion a year in aftermarket parts in the automotive industry in the United States. So it is a big industry. And when you think of heavy duty and heavy duty parts and how much it's we sell, the automotive industry, they produce a lot more vehicles, they produce a lot of parts, comparatively speaking. So this is a big deal. Why I wanted to bring up this particular strike is because here we see the shutdown of plants, we see the union on strike, but the same union is representing the folks who work for Mack, and they've had a different result. So tell us a little bit about that, Diana.
Yeah, so we learned that on Sunday night, the Mack union workers contract was about to expire, and with 9 minutes to go, they reached a tentative deal. So it was quite literally an 11th hour save. Now, the difference is that the Mack workers represent about 4,000 or so members of this industry, whereas in auto, it's 25,000. So that's certainly a big difference in scale.
Absolutely. One of the things that I think it's a good thing for trucking that Mac was able to solve this is simply because we just need trucks being produced right now. There's shifting demand all over the place right now. We've seen the used market go up and down almost like a yo-yo over the last couple years, and of course during COVID we saw the production of new vehicles come to basically a complete halt for a period of time. This has caused all kinds of issues for the fleets that are relying on these new vehicles to come through. But it has a trickle down effect as well, right? Because second, third, fourth owners, the aftermarket definitely caters to them. This is really causing a lot of havoc for them too, because the usual flow of new trucks going to big fleets and then being sold off after a few years and being purchased by second, third, and fourth owners. This is going to be something that's going to be challenging for many years to come. We haven't even gotten over the issues that were caused by COVID. The last thing we need as an industry right now is production facilities being shut down because of strikes.
Absolutely, that's completely true. And I just learned that The UAW is actually handing out $500 in strike benefits to each of those 25,000 UAW members who are striking at the automakers' plants. So thus
Okay.
far, it's cost $14 million just to give benefits to those striking workers. Now, we've also realized, we heard that President Sean Fain, who is the UAW president, that he is going to make a statement tomorrow, which is Friday. But we're not sure whether this is going to be progress towards a deal or if it's going to call for even more walkouts.
All right. Well, we'll have to stay tuned and find out. But you can follow the Heavy Duty Parts Report, and we will continue coverage of these news items. Let's shift now to the big news in trucking that happened over the last couple weeks, and that is the bankruptcy of Yellow. So, first of all, let's just go through kind of the timeline. So, again, we used our AI friend here to do some research for us, and I found an interesting history of the company of Yellow. First of all, this is a company that's been around for over 100 years. They had some issues going all the way back to 1984, where the company faced greater competition from non union carriers. They took on a lot of debt, buying many of their unionized competitors. So, for example, they purchased Roadway back in 2004 for $1 billion.
Wow.
And the company had a long running battle with Teamsters unions, which represented 22,000 of their 30,000 employees. The union refused to negotiate an agreement, and that would allow the company to advance its efforts to modernize and to strengthen, according to the company, strengthen employees' benefits. So here we can see this fight back and forth, and there's accusations that the union launched a dishonest public assault on the company, driving away customers and costing the company over $137 million by June of 2023. And at the same time, so you see, right? Leadership is saying that it's the union's fault. The union's saying it's leadership. So what did the union have to say about what they thought of the leadership of Yellow?
Yeah, so the Teamsters or I'm sorry, the president, or the CEO of Yellow, his name is Darren Hawkins. He fully put the blame on the Teamsters, saying that the Teamsters have put the brakes on their business plan, literally driving the company out of business. However, I found out yesterday that the Teamsters were actually rallying for more equal benefits to be given out to all of the union represented employees. I found out that uh, union employees who were hired prior to, I believe, 2007 were given full pensions, were given fully covered health insurance, while the newer hires were given 401ks, did not necessarily have all of their health costs covered. And so the unions are really calling for, or were calling for back then, equal pay for equal work. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the mottos of unions here in the US. And unfortunately, that just wasn't being seen. Now, the Teamsters had a pretty strong response to Yellow's accusations, didn't they?
Yeah, they certainly did. So the Teamsters, yeah. So the leadership said the union's putting the brakes on our plans and not letting us to move forward. Teamsters General President Sean O'Brien responded, "Yellow's dysfunctional, greedy C-suite failed to take responsibility for squandering all that cash. They shamelessly pin their corporate incompetence on the working people." And just to be clear, according to our research here, the Chapter 11 bankruptcy was filed in the District of Delaware on August 6, 2023. So this is something that has happened over the summer. It's an evolving situation. And we wanted to kind of move beyond what has happened to talk about the implications for the trucking industry. So we see this back and forth between union and leadership. This 100-year-old plus company is now gone. What has this done in the way of demand and capacity for the trucking industry?
Well, we can really make some lemonade out of the lemons of the situation, which is that with Yellow going under, and that put 30,000 workers out of a job, unfortunately, that actually freed up a lot of capacity for other trucking companies in the area. Now, I live in Indianapolis. The Midwest is doing pretty well when it comes to truckload capacity. And I know from personal experience, some of the truckers that I know, they're, getting that overtime, they're getting those long hours. And it's really unfortunate though that a century-year-old or a century-old company had to go down for that to happen.
Yeah, and I was looking at some data too around owner operators and small fleets that have gone out of business over the last few months. It's in the tens of thousands, and what we're seeing, especially in the Midwest, for some reason in the Midwest, that there seems to be a redistribution of all of that capacity, even though maybe tonnage is down overall and demand is down overall. Because you've got all these companies that are going out of business, you end up shifting that demand over to the carriers that are left, and then they end up starting to pick up. So it's strange times. When things are up and things are down, you have winners and losers at every stage and at every level of the trucking industry. So speaking of all of that, this challenge of operating a trucking company, it's not just managing the demand for your service. It's also, how do you fix the truck? How do you keep them well maintained? Where do you get your parts from? How do you handle all the service work? And owner operators, they have a very specific set of challenges that are kind of unique to them. So we're going to take a quick break, and after our break, we're going to have a new segment where we get questions from the audience, and we're going to talk all about what it's like to be an owner operator. We'll be right back. This episode of the Heavy Duty Parts Report is brought to you by Find It Parts, your ultimate destination for heavy duty truck and trailer parts. Discover a vast range of parts at finditparts.com. Don't spend hours a day looking for parts. Instead, visit finditparts.com and get them right away. We're back from our break. So thank you so much to our main sponsor, our exclusive sponsor, Find It Parts. We love doing business with Find It Parts and having them as our sponsor. And if you're looking to buy heavy duty parts, then you definitely need to check out Find It Parts. Diana, when it comes to being an owner operator, it's a special kind of set of circumstances, isn't it? It's certainly different than being a company driver.
That's absolutely true. There's so much more to worry about, and everything that happens to your truck, you're on the hook for it. It's a lot more of a risky position compared to being a company driver. And that was really summed up super well in this TikTok by Struggling Trucker One.
All right, let's watch that and find out, what is it like to be an owner operator?
So you think you want to be an owner operator? Well, you better like doing this on Friday evening, because this is what you're going to be doing if you want to be an owner operator. Don't believe all that bullshit about, oh, you're making all this money, just take it to the shop. Ain't happening. Till next time, keep struggling.
The struggle is real. Now, according to the Owner Operators Association, there are 350,000 owner operators in the United States of the roughly 4 million drivers that are out there. And I remember as a sales account manager, Diana, it certainly was the true, like what he's talking about, this Friday evening, wrenching on the truck, having to get parts Saturday, working on the truck all day on Saturday, getting it ready for Sunday, maybe squeezing in some family time on Saturday evening and a little bit of time with your spouse, and then maybe church in the morning on Sunday, and then packing up and back on the road. That's the life of the owner operator. When you look at that situation, and it reminds me of when I was selling parts to these people, I can't tell you how many times on my drive home from a long week of being on the road selling, I'd get phone calls from customers saying, I need a compressor. Can you have it here Saturday morning? And this is the reality. So when I watched that video, it really resonated with me.
Yeah, absolutely. A commenter named Danny Coots summed it up basically by saying, Friday, you get home late, you start fixing, and then, of course, you break another part while you're fixing the first one. Then Saturday before noon, you have to get to the parts store. And then Sunday, you finish fixing the truck just in time for you to finally head out again.
That's right. Life of JJR, he talks about how he or she, who knows? We don't know who JJR is. Could be a man, could be a woman. But JJR, anyway, talks about how they have a preference to older trucks, saying that it's easier to fix them. And in the long run, it's more cost effective than having all of this new technology. And when that technology goes down, it's extremely costly. And the user Yellow, not affiliated with Yellow, the transportation fleet that just went bankrupt, I assume, talks about, that's the part of being an owner operator, that it's challenging, but they say that they enjoy every minute of it. And I do, that also resonates with me, because I think owner operators are a special group of people. They're independent, right? They're fiercely independent, and they're also very innovative. They have to be, to keep those trucks on the road. And we saw in the clip, right? He mentioned, can't just take it to the shop because you're just like flush with cash. Like, that's not the reality of most owner operators.
That's absolutely true. I mean, the hourly rate at a shop can be 125, 150 an hour these days. So that's a really easy way to eat up your profit margins if you're taking your truck into the shop. And one of the things that I've noticed, Jamie, you're totally right that owner operators are their own breed. I mean, they really are like the modern day cowboys. You have to be self-sufficient. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to accept wisdom from other people who have gone before you. So it's a really unique job, and we really appreciate all of the owner operators out there.
Oftentimes on the Heavy Duty Parts Report, we talk about fleets, but we're also talking about owner operators. If you operate a Class 8 truck and trailer, then lowering your total cost of operation is absolutely essential. So if you want to learn more about how to lower your total cost of operation, how to improve that cost per mile, and you also want to hear about innovative products and suppliers like our main sponsor, Find It Parts, and how they can help you to keep your costs down, tune in to the Heavy Duty Parts Report every week. We have a new episode coming out every single Monday. And Diana, who's coming up on next Monday?
Yeah, so next Monday, we're going to have Daryl Grady. He is the Director of Engineering at SSR Lighting Solutions. This is a brand new company coming over from automotive, and they have thought up a really innovative way to light up the inside of a trailer, because it's 2023. We shouldn't just be using those big spotlights anymore. There has to be a better way.
That's right. And what was great about that conversation is you learn about, first of all, their innovative approach to installing it in a trailer so it doesn't get damaged when you've got forklifts running in and out all day, how it improves safety for the actual driver if he's in the trailer, unloading and loading skids or moving things around with a pallet jack. And it is set up so that once you disconnect from your truck, it still provides you hours of lighting on demand exactly when you need it. So how do you tune in to the Heavy Duty Parts Report? Well, you can go to heavydutypartsreport.com. You can sign up to our weekly email, which then is going to make sure that you get a weekly email so you never miss any content. But you can follow the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or you can watch the video version on our website and also on our YouTube channel. So there is many, many ways for you to consume that content. It's coming at you every Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's live. I really appreciate it. Taryn, just before we conclude today, were there any comments from the audience that we wanted to specifically address, or did we cover them all? Okay, we got them all. But when we come live, we're going to be coming at you live more often. You're going to see more of these live broadcasts. Please make sure that you participate. We want to hear from you, and we want to be able to answer your common questions in our segment on what it's like to be in the trucking industry. So keep sending them over to us. Thank you so much, Diana, for being on the show today. Always appreciate your efforts as our podcast director, helping us put this all together and making it happen.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right, so that brings us to the conclusion of HDPR Live number 76. We got more coming at you. Tune in to our live broadcast. And don't forget, head over to heavydutypartsreport.com to subscribe to our show and get our weekly podcast episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Keep being heavy duty.